Clara Hughes, six-time Olympic medalist. No big deal. No big deal.
No big deal.
Good to have you back. I know Vancouver holds a special place in your heart. And speaking of hearts, Open Heart, Open Mind is the name of the brand new book. And when we got this last week, had a chance to read it, they said we had to hold it before the release because there are so many raw and personal revelations. And the big story that's hitting the news is the doping revelation you reveal in this book, going back to 1994 after the World Cycling Championships. The court of public opinion can be relentless. Instead of resistance, you have received support with this revelation. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think people appreciate truth and honesty, and this book is all about just my whole story, opening up completely, and I don't hold back on myself. It would have been easy not to put that in there, but it's a part of my history. It was a positive test for ephedrine, which is found in cough medicine, which at the time there were a lot of positive tests for athletes because of tainted supplements at health food stores. I hadn't taken any vitamins. I couldn't figure out where it could have come from. And because it was a minor substance, my federation supported me. They did not have to disclose this information. They didn't. And they just said, you know, we believe in you when you say you don't know. And if it had been something different, it would have been dealt with very differently. So I lived with this for the last 21 years, not telling anyone, but feeling like this guilt inside and this feeling, this paranoia and of it happening again. I mean, it's the athlete's worst nightmare for that to happen, and it happened to me. But I know in my heart, and I know, you know, clearly that I am someone who stands for integrity, that stands for what's right, that stands for justice, and I think I've proven that over my whole life. Even though I've made a lot of mistakes, this happened and I had to put it in there. And I think people have gone beyond that story because it is such a small part of this book, and the book is about opening up about my struggles, sharing the incredible joys, including, you know, the unfolding of the Olympics here in Vancouver. I had a front row seat as flag bearer, as athlete, as Canadian, and so many amazing things happened here, you know, connecting with people, connecting with culture, and just opening up my heart and my mind to the possibilities yet again. And that's what this book is about, the struggle and the joy. You know, the struggle and the joy, and you write it just like a fan, and that is what allows us to really experience this. And when you talk about struggles, the depression, the anxiety, the eating disorders that can exist for athletes, what can Canada do as a country to support their athletes, one, during these types of challenges, but two, after the Olympic glory is over, so they can continue on in a positive way? Well, you know, when you say that, what can we do to support our athletes? What can we do to support our citizens? Because I was an athlete who went through these things, but it's not just, you know, it's not just athletes that are pushing themselves, that are trying to achieve these great things, that deal with these issues of eating disorders, of mental health issues. All of these things are societal elements that everybody is connected to. And I just, for me, like opening up in a really raw way, which I don't even know how to articulate a lot of these things, with my family situation growing up with my dad who struggled with alcoholism his whole life and verbal abuse towards my mother, and growing up within that. This photo right here is so powerful because you, in this book, write, when you describe your father at times, was a master of destruction. Yeah. How hard is it to write that and put that out, and what do you learn about yourself when you do this, go through this exercise? Well, you know, a lot of it is just realizing my dad had so many beautiful traits, and he was an intellectual, he was an artist, he was so passionate, and I got a lot of really great things from my dad, but he also had a lot of struggles, and he had a lot of issues and a lot of flaws, and I have those from him as well, and those are the things as a human being I need to work on. But I think, you know, with this book, I just want people to connect on a human level and not look at me and really break down that whole, like, I did all these things and I won Olympic medals, but there's so much more. There's a human story here, and it's something that is universal. The struggles are universal, and they affect every one of us. And I just think we need to be better as a society, more accepting, and more accepting of ourselves in those struggles, because being human is the dark and the light, the struggle and the joy, and we can't have one without the other. So I wanted to just show, like, I am so flawed. I am so completely flawed, but I'm also all these other things. You know, so to show people that you can be both. You should be both. We are both. You know, it's raw and it's very honest, like you mentioned. And I want to read this quote, and this was your quote after the London 2012 games when you competed, and you said, "The rewards we think we want aren't necessarily
the ones we need. What did you learn about sport, and what did you learn about life when you competed in London 2012?
Well, I came in 5th place. You know, I broke my back in a bike crash 2.5 months before those games, and I was still able to compete. I had the help and I had the support, and I was on my bike, and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm here. And I didn't win an Olympic medal, and everybody around me, including kind of myself, was just like, I'll just do it again. You know, like, it just works, and I have that extra something. I didn't have it that day. It made me realize just the kind of awe of, wow, I actually did that. Like, those things are tangible. I have them, but it made me realize it's the pursuit and the experience and the learning that you get from these quote-unquote failures that are probably the biggest things and the greatest gifts in life.
And you're still smiling after all of this. Listen, this is a great read. Open Heart, Open Mind is the name of the book right now. You can pick it up and you can say, and you said it so eloquently, not just for athletes, this is for everybody. And congratulations on being so open and raw about it all. Thanks so much, Clara.
Thank you.
All right, going to take a break.